Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. The regular meeting of the City Planning Commission will be called to order and we will begin with a few introductory remarks. The City of Sioux Falls Planning Commission serves as an advisory board to the City Council. It is the responsibility of the Planning Commission to consider and make recommendation on land use and zoning matters. Conditional use permits and minor amendment requests will have final action here this evening, unless appealed to the City Council in writing within 5 days. Any decision made on preliminary subdivision plans or future land use amendment requests tonight will be referred to the City Council for final action at the third council meeting of the month. Any decision made on rezoning requests, major amendments, or ordinance amendments tonight will be referred to the City Council for final action at the first council meeting of the month. Council meetings are held at 7 p.m. here in the Carnegie Town Hall and are televised. Any action taken here tonight on a final development plan is final. The Planning Commission will first approve the consent agenda and then the regular agenda. In order to place certain non-controversial items on the Commission's consent agenda, planning staff and the Planning Commission applies the following criteria. First, the request conforms with the City 2015 Land Use Plan. Second, the planning staff recommends approval of the request. And third, there are no audience members present or written comments received in opposition to the request. And fourth, the application meets all conditions and requirements of the ordinance. Once the consent agenda items are approved, you are free to leave. For the regular agenda, the following normal public hearing procedure will be followed. By first requesting planning staff to present a brief report on each item. Second, the petitioner will be requested to come forward and make a statement or answer questions. After the petitioner, anyone from the audience who wishes to address a particular agenda item shall be recognized. Then, the Planning Commission will discuss the matter further and take appropriate action. We ask that anyone addressing the Planning Commission other than staff move to the podium microphone, identify themselves, and state their address for the record. Please limit your comments to less than 5 minutes. As a courtesy to everyone here tonight, we ask you please either turn off or silence your cell phone and pager. This meeting is being televised on Channel 16 and will be rebroadcast Saturday at 10 a.m., Tuesday at 7 p.m., and Wednesday at 1 a.m. Thank you for your cooperation.
Good evening. We'll begin tonight by reading the consent agenda items. The first item is the approval of the January 20th, 2010 minutes of the regular meeting. Number 2 would be plats. Item number 3, which is item 2009-12-17, is a rezone from the RA1 residential district to the RS2 residential district to allow uses at 3020 North Van Epps Avenue. Item number 4 is number 2010-01-01, a conditional use permit in the C4 Planned Commercial District to allow a full-service restaurant within 150 feet of a residential use at 5315 West 41st Street. And finally, item number 5, number 2010-01-04, is a preliminary subdivision plan for the Garden Village 2 addition for development of commercial office and residential uses at South Minnesota and West 85th Street. Is there anyone in the audience tonight that would like to have any of those items moved to the regular agenda? Seeing none, are there any objections by the Planning Commission to the items that are listed on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda is approved. If your item here tonight was one of those approved. You're free to go. Thank you for coming. The next order of business is approval of the regular agenda. Staff?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, my name is Dave Loveland, and I'm with planning staff. I wanted to inform the commission that item 6 has been deferred to March 3rd planning commission meeting, and that item 8 has been requested to be withdrawn.
Okay, thank you, David. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda with item 6 deferred and item 8 withdrawn?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
A motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding the regular agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? We have, I guess we're going to begin on item 7. Staff report, please.
Good evening again. Item number 7 is an application for a major amendment to the Westwood Valley Planned Development District. The applicant's requesting the major amendment in order to build residential storage units. The applicant is Damian Grable from Earhart Griffin and Associates, I believe represented by one of his colleagues tonight. And the owner is Rick Dunlap with Westwood Valley LLC. The area in question is about 22.4 acres at West 32nd Street and Mary Beth Avenue. The existing zoning is Subarea D, Westwood Valley Planned Development District. And the abutting zoning and land uses include, to the north is also Subarea D, which is developing multifamily. To the south is also Subarea D, which is developing multifamily and office. To the east is Subarea A of Roosevelt Park, and that's across Ellis Road, and that's currently vacant, but is zoned for multifamily and office uses. And to the west is Subarea A of Westwood Valley, which is a developing single-family area. You'll notice on the compatibility ratings that all of those neighboring uses are a compatibility rating of 3, where staff recommends that a planned development district with those specific regulations to address compatibility issues be implemented. Westwood Valley PD was created by City Council in December of 2003. Final development plans have since been approved for multifamily residential projects and a fitness center. The proposed regulations include residential storage as an allowed use and would add regulations governing such a use. Those regulations are referenced at the end of at the staff report, and the additions I'll go over in a little bit. Currently, the subarea allows permissive, permitted special, and conditional uses from both the RA1 residential district and the O office district, and any developments other than single-family or two-family residential buildings are required to obtain approval of a final development plan from the Planning Commission. So residential storage units are a unique use and one that requires careful consideration of potential incompatibilities. The applicants have stated their desire to fit in with the multifamily residential developments that have been or will be occurring on adjacent properties, and are proposing to address designs that will appear to be part of multifamily residential complexes. Landscaping and lighting plans are to be submitted to the Planning Office for approval, and staff encourages the applicant to prepare those in conjunction with a future final development plan application. The applicants have also had discussions with the police department to ensure visibility remains a priority, and those discussions are ongoing. Further refinement will occur as part of the final development plan process. In addition, the applicants are also encouraged to work with the fire department and the building services office to ensure conformance with fire and building codes regarding storage, and those requirements will need to be taken care of by the time of submittal of a final development plan. Also, the applicant conducted a mailing with many of the surrounding residents and invited them to attend a neighborhood meeting. Those documents have been provided to you, and they also held a neighborhood, and at that neighborhood meeting, I believe there were a few people who showed up, but staff has not received any phone calls with concerns on this project, and I believe that the applicant will be able to address that neighborhood meeting in addition outcome with you. So, as I stated, information later conveyed to us indicated a light turnout without objection. As far as the subarea regulations are concerned, the applicant would like to note that, or on your application, on your staff report, you'll see that any additions to the subarea regulations have been underlined. Those include how to address setbacks. Some of the specific items that you'll see residential storage uses shall be classified as I-1, light industrial for plating fee purposes. Residential storage buildings shall be constructed with a pitched roof at a 4 to 12. And the storage area shall be no longer than 1 to 12 width to length before a break, which I believe that they're still working out. Residential style lighting shall be submitted for approval by the planning director, and no outdoor storage would be allowed. Residential storage landscaping plan shall also be submitted to the planning director. And residential storage buildings shall have coordinated color palette of materials and colors, including materials and colors for rooftops. And residential storage trash receptacles must be screened with like materials and located on site. So those are some of the things that the applicant has been working on to try and address some of the compatibility issues that may come forward. At this time, the Planning Commission is only considering whether to allow the use as part of the major amendment. And any future plans for final development will come before this body again, where those items can be looked at and determined on their compatibility basis. So, because the subject application addresses potential incompatibilities and provides a neighborhood service, staff is recommending approval of the major amendment with those following changes to the sub-area regulations. And that concludes staff report.
Thank you, David. Any questions for David?
Okay.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here this evening?
Kevin Westra with Earhart Griffin Associates, 300 North Dakota Avenue, Suite 114. As mentioned, we sent out mailings to, I believe it was 51 neighbors in the area. We hosted a meeting and also invited them to contact us by phone or email if they had any questions or concerns. At the meeting, we had just 2 people show up, the owner of the communications tower, who's present here tonight, and also the developer on the east side of Mary Beth Avenue. Neither of the people present had major concerns with what we were working on. I have no further comments. If you have any questions, I'll address those.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin? Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience tonight that wishes to address this issue? Would you come forward, please?
Hi, my name is Jim Cooper. I live at 26158 and 455th Avenue out Humboldt. And I'm a part owner of the tower, and I manage that tower site and and the spot where the land is. And I didn't know if there'd be any opposition to this, but I just came because I thought it'd be a good idea and it'd be a nice compliment to the area, the way that they have it laid out. And since it's commercial already, it fits in. And I think it would cut down on traffic. It's you know, everybody needs storage, and I thought it'd be a nice compliment to the area. And so I just wanted you to know that I think it'd be a good idea, and I come to support it.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Any questions for Jim before? I guess not. Thank you. Anyone else wishes to address this item? Seeing none, we would entertain a motion regarding this item.
Mr. Chair, normally I don't like this kind of a building in a residential area, but because staff is approving it and because there's no objection from the neighbors and because we get to approve the final development plan, I'm willing to make a motion to approve.
Okay. Thank you. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, we have item 8, which has been withdrawn. Staff, would you address item number 9 for us?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Steve Randall with the planning staff. I'll be representing this item this evening. There was a conditional use permit granted for Lankota Incorporated to allow a motor vehicle repair shop on the subject property. It was an existing building, formerly a truck business in there, and they were allowed to go ahead with some conditions, one of which was that the conditional use permit come back to the Planning Commission for review, and that's what we're doing this evening. is reviewing the status of that conditional use permit. General location is on 1800 East Benson Road. It's about a 6-acre site, although only a portion of it is developed at the present time. The applicant has indicated that the undeveloped portion is available for sale. On the north side of the project, it is, in fact, it's zoned I-1 light industrial on all sides of the subject property. However, to the south, there is a bank and some vacant property, and to the east, it's HSBC. And we've given those now currently compatibility ratings for evaluating that conditional use permit, one of which is a 3, which is a potential incompatibility, which would be to the south against that bank. As an industrial use, we like to make sure that we don't have any adverse impact, and I believe the Planning Commission and the applicant addressed that satisfactorily in their conditional use permit. The improvements have been put in for buffering adjacent uses, including landscaping, a sidewalk, the grass, front yard landscaping, as well as trees that are required. That was put in the East Benson Road frontage for the use. The applicant did go to the Board of Adjustment to get a deferment on improvements to the west along an unimproved street, currently unimproved, until such time as the street is improved, in which then they would make their improvements, their landscaping improvements. The applicant would participate in a petition for those improvements. However, other property owners along that street are not willing at the present time to proceed with street improvements, so it may be some time before those improvements go in. As far as the rest of the property is concerned, the zoning office has reviewed the building permit for the conditional use. They have made their improvements, and there have been no violations of building codes or factors that are involved in the building permit review process, and so they're pretty much completed with their work. I believe there's a little bit of work yet to be done. The applicant is here this evening and can address that with you and answer any questions. The accessibility is maintained now as off of Benson Road for purposes of traffic and parking. All the required improvements have been made. As I mentioned, the landscaping improvements have also been made. The portion of the property that is undeveloped, zoning does not require those sidewalk and landscaping improvements to be put in at the present time until such time as a plan is brought forward for development of that portion of the property. That's just a standard procedure that they take for large properties. And as I mentioned, the applicant does have that undeveloped portion of the property available for sale. Because the applicant has successfully completed these plan checks and by zoning and building services prior to obtaining a building permit, and conditions for approval have been addressed, staff is submitting a favorable review for this conditional use. And that concludes staff report.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve? I guess not. Thanks, Steve. Is the applicant here this evening?
Marvy Cheddar, located, the business is Lankota Custom Trucks. It's located at 1800 East Benson Road.
Could you give me an address, your address too?
Okay, Lankota Group. I actually live in Huron.
Oh, okay. And your first name is Marvy?
Marvy Cheddar.
Anything else that you'd like to add this evening, Marvy?
I guess I would like to say that it was quite a process purchasing the property. We've worked through many issues with many departments of the city. We appreciate the cooperation and consideration that they've given us. It was a property that, because it was on Benson and Lewis, there were some major considerations, as were referred to with zoning, because of the bank across the street, because Jessica is undeveloped. A lot of issues there. We appreciate the consideration of that. The undeveloped property is for sale. It is listed with vendor, and at the time that we do have a buyer or buyers, we will do whatever is necessary to meet code and consideration there.
Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners for Marvy? I guess not. Thanks for coming down tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anyone else in the audience that would care to address this issue? Seeing none, our choices here are to accept or not accept this review, and I would entertain a motion at this point in time.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the recommendation.
Okay. We have a motion to accept. Is there a second?
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you again. That brings us to the final item tonight, which is adjournment. And at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Thank you.